Back again, how ENZO MARASCA, the Chelsea coach, exposed PSG. Now, PSG's strength became their weakness. I'll explain to you. Now, you all know that PSG, when it comes to their strength, when it comes to the way they attack, their fullbacks are very important, especially the left-hand side, Nuno Mendes. Now, ENZO MARASCA was able to unleash PALMER. How was he able to do it? Very simple. Now, the thing is that when it comes to Mendes, one-on-one, he's very good. He has stopped a lot of wingers. Now, PALMER was used, if you look at the formation right now of Chelsea, PALMER was mainly used as an inverted winger. Kind of like a creative winger. He wasn't used as a typical bumping winger no. He was used as an inverted winger, which modern football right now, we have a lot of inverted wingers. So he was used mainly as an inverted winger who would come into the midfield area. Why? Because he would draw Mendes out of his position. Now, if you notice one thing about Chelsea formation, you can see it's 4-3-3. You see the likes of James. James being in that midfield, there's a reason why he's in that midfield. I'll tell you the tactical reason why James was brought into the midfield, and they start Gusto. Now, Gusto would bump forward. Now, that bumping forward was deliberate. And if you notice the goals that Chelsea scored, the two goals were really similar. It was a long ball, a situation whereby Gusto was just bumping forward. Now, when Gusto bumps forward, Mendes will have to deal with him. Now, MARASCA was not coming back for Mendes the way he's supposed to do, and that really disturbed Mendes. Mendes has to deal with Gusto and PALMER. Now, PALMER was not staying out wide anytime Chelsea have the ball. He wasn't staying out wide. It was always Gusto that's bumping forward. Now, that exposed Mendes. How? Mendes has to follow PALMER. PALMER will leave that area, come into the midfield area. If you notice the goal that PALMER has scored, the two goals are identical. He ran into the midfield area, got a shot and scored. He ran into the midfield area. Why? But if you look at the formation, he's wide. Who was going there? The goal came from Gusto. If you look at the first goal, it's a long ball. You understand? So I said this, if you are following me on TikTok, I said it that Chelsea don't necessarily need to have to knock the ball. If you check out the ball position so far, you can clearly see that, PSG had more ball position overall, everything. So obviously Chelsea just needed one-on-one situations. You understand? So they bumped the ball forward. The first goal, long ball, Gusto came, he was able to do that, and then he won the one-on-one duel with Mendes. Before you know, PALMER that is playing as a winger, like I said, it's an inverted winger. You see him in the midfield area, he runs in and they give him the ball, he shoots. These are two identical goals. And the third goal came in a way whereby you can clearly see that Chelsea were already comfortable. PSG were not really pressing like that, and they were able to play their way out and get the third goal, which Joao Pedro scored. Now, again, you can see clearly where PALMER had the ball and he was able to pass. That pocket of space is where PALMER was operating. He wasn't, that is a half spaces. He wasn't really operating too wide. You understand? Because now, I'll tell you the reason why James was in that midfield. Now, when you see Gusto bumping forward, there has to be someone that will cover. Normally, it's supposed to be who? It's supposed to be the midfielder. Now, this is the reason why James was there. James will go and cover that place. When the ball is lost, James will be the one that will cover. That's why James was in the midfield. That was tactical. The reason why they bring James to the midfield. He will cover for Malo Gusto. So you see now. As for the other side, which is Neto, when you look at it clearly, Neto was there because he's very hardworking. Neto goes back a lot to press. He goes back a lot to press. Not saying that PALMER doesn't do that, but I'm trying to tell you that Neto is more hardworking. He goes back to press and he was helping Cucurella with Due. So they were doubling up on Due so that Due will not, because Due really did well, try to tease Cucurella. Due played more than MARASCA. MARASCA was the first person they even substituted. If you notice it, they substituted him instantly. So Due he deserved that the youngest best player. If you look at it, he really played well. So Dembele was nowhere to sing. Anyways, the thing is that you can clearly see that Neto was being played as a traditional winger, a left-sided winger playing in the left-hand side. So basically, his job is just there to, if he can bump him forward and whip him cross, is good. If he cannot keep the ball, so traditional wingers mostly they bump him forward and whip the crosses with because he's a left footer. So from that left side area, he just does that, whipping the crosses once and for all. So he really did well in that side. And Cucurella was not really overlapping. So that's not the side they were really using to attack. It was PALMER's area. So that is where they use and they unleashed PALMER, and we got pre-Christmas PALMER of 2024. If you know what I mean, 2024 PALMER before Christmas, going to 2025 was this 2025 PALMER is the best. Anyways, this is the tactical point. If you understand, that's it, man. See you guys later.